The 2021 NFL season is in the books. And now it is time for us to reflect on the past season and look forward to the new season. The NFL Combine just a week away. The new league year just less than a month away. The NFL Draft just over a month away. I believe it is very important right now for us to calibrate and look at the best players to invest in this offseason. So in this two-part series, I'm going to be sharing with you the who, what, when, where, why of, in this video, the top 5, and then in the next video, the next top 5 for the top 10 this week of best players to invest in this off season. Let's dig in. So right off the bat, let's talk a little bit about my formula. The first thing that I want to take into consideration when picking the best players to invest in this offseason for the 2022 NFL season, I want to look at players that are going to overperform compared to their current expectations. And expectations are currently quantified by their average draft position in fantasy football drafts, whether it's early best ball drafts, early dynasty drafts, etc., etc. Specifically, I like best ball. Shout out to underdogfantasy.com. Promo code QUEST gets you a 100% instant deposit bonus if you want to do some early best ball drafts. But in those drafts, we're looking to predict the players that will perform the best throughout the duration of the 2022 season. Those guys are going to lead to clear rookie card increases at some point in 2022. Some of the other guys I've got picked are going to have increased expectations based on a big quarterback upgrade, based on being traded or signed by a new team once the new league year starts, which in turn gives them a big quarterback upgrade. Big coaching upgrades. Coaching can change the tempo of a game. They can increase the number of pass plays per game, which could affect the outcome production of a quarterback or wide receiver. Big offensive line upgrades through the draft can definitely affect the performance, the production of a running back. So it's important to look at guys that have low expectations, i.e. quantified by a lower ADP compared to how they will finish the season. So let's look at my top 5, but before we do, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that little bell notification icon so you don't miss any action here on the quest, and smash that like button to let that YouTube algorithm know we're doing some good stuff here. We're going to start off with a quarterback and move into a running back, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end by the end of this video, a deep dive on each with correlation to their current card value. So the first up is Jalen Hurts with the Philadelphia Eagles. What's so interesting is Jalen Hurts was one of college football's most remarkable quarterbacks ever. He was a respected captain for 2 iconic programs, from an SEC Offensive Player of the Year as a freshman at Alabama to Heisman Trophy runner-up as a senior at Oklahoma. He has a legacy like no other in college football. The only 3 players the last 2 decades with 3,600 yards passing and 1,200 yards rushing in 1 year, Jalen Hurts and Heisman winners Lamar Jackson and Johnny Manziel. One of the transient points of his career, the 2017 National Championship game against Georgia, still stands as a poignant crossroads, one that will forever be a testament to both Hurts' talents and virtue. Because he had an ineffective first half, he was replaced by the true freshman Tua Tagovailoa. The rest, with his fill-in becoming a legend, is history. Though Hurts was on the sidelines for the second half, his constant composure and genuine support for Tua and the rest of his teammates helped validate Hurts as a college football icon. His selflessness is part of his story. It's part of what makes him such a good leader in the NFL today. And ironically enough, almost 1 year later, Hurts' patience and persistence paid off again. Him playing largely a reserve role throughout the season up to that point was called upon in the SEC championship game when Tua was struggling. Hurts rallied Alabama from a fourth quarter deficit, scoring 2 critical final period touchdowns, including the game winner with 1:05 remaining to lead the Crimson Tide to victory. It was a role reversal, though with the exact same pretense. Simply put, Hurts was there for his team. Comparing him to Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, which both looked the part early in their first NFL season when they exploded in the second half of their sophomore campaigns, Tua sat out and watched for the first half of his rookie year, but he performed decently through enough to raise his projection going into the second season. Unfortunately for Dolphins fans, Tua's forecast never broke much through the 50th percentile, failing dramatically in the final weeks of 2021. Currently in true EPA, which is the Pro Football Focus preferred metrics, expected points added, which puts a comparable points-based value on the results of every NFL play. The higher the EPA, the higher the individual player contributed to the team's success. The lower the EPA, the more of a median, run-of-the-mill performance that player had. The efficiency forecast for the 2020 class take a similar pattern to that for PFF grades, but Herbert clearly separates from Burrow by plotting all the results for all quarterbacks after their second seasons who were drafted from 2006 to 2020. We get a better understanding of how the 2020 class looks relative to quarterbacks who have now played out much more of their careers. Look at the 19 successful quarterbacks who played through or are likely to play through to second contracts. The 2020 class is highlighted with bright green data points and red labels. Patrick Mahomes, the consensus best young quarterback in the NFL, is the only quarterback in recent history with stronger forecasts than Herbert and Burrow. Hurts is surrounded by several quarterbacks who played through to second contracts. While some, such as Andrew Luck and Matt Ryan, went on to stellar careers, others, like Carson Wentz, never quite reached an elite plateau. Hurts doesn't have rock-solid forecasts, but he looks relatively strong versus historical norms. Encouragingly, Hurts appears to be on an upswing, registering the 10th highest PFF grade of 80.8 in 2021 and as the 11th best quarterback of the year when combining EPA per play. The successful quarterbacks surrounding Tua are harder to find, with only the uber-talented Josh Allen and Matt Stafford registering a lower grade forecast through their first two seasons. Highlighting the 28 quarterbacks who failed to make it to second contracts as starters, Hurts has a better grade forecast than all except Baker Mayfield. Jameis Winston is the only unsuccessful quarterback to have a better EPA forecast, and even he was able to gain back a starting job last season. Hurts has similar forecasts to Robert Griffin III, but is on a positive year-over-year trajectory, unlike RG3, who disappointed after being named Offensive Rookie of the Year. So needless to say, the Bengals and Chargers shouldn't have to worry about looking for a quarterback for at least another decade, but the Eagles might have a more solid option in-house than many presume. Hurts isn't the traditional pocket passer, but he has shown ability as measured by grading and efficiency to be a quarterback a successful team can build around. He's always got that but around his passing efficiency and passing production. However, I believe that he has grown a tremendous amount, and based on his current ADP, the back end of the 8th round going roughly 95 overall, which puts him at roughly the QB 10, I believe is undervalued. Look at his rookie cards. His rookie ticket autos are going for around $100 to $150. This is the same as some elite skill position players. He's a quarterback on a big market team, very young, very explosive playmaking ability. Look at his base prisms just going for a couple dollars. The PSA 10s going for $40, $50. These cards are very, very undervalued, which makes him one of my favorite off-season targets to follow. One of my favorite off-season running back targets to follow this year is Tony Pollard on the Dallas Cowboys. 2019 rookie from Memphis, drafted in the 4th round. Tony Pollard actually ran a 4.41 on his pro day. He's 6 foot, 210 pounds. And what's so interesting is when you look at his metrics compared to Ezekiel Elliott, who is a number 1 draft pick, number 4 overall from 2016, on a massive contract with the Cowboys, who has a potential out in 2023. Otherwise, he's locked in for quite some time. He is occupying a tremendous amount of salary cap space on that team, and with the amount of carries that he had last year, he had 237 carries last year compared to Tony Pollard's 130, and he generated just over 1,000 rushing yards, 1,002, which is an average of 4.2 yards per carry. But Tony Pollard, with his 100 fewer carries, got 719 rushing yards. That's an average of 5.5 yards per carry. So when you look at the true efficiency advanced metrics for Tony Pollard, he ranks number 4 in the league at yards per carry, yards per touch number 4 in the league, a 34.9% juke rate at number 5 in the league, a number 3 8.5% breakaway runs over 15 yards, number 10 in the league in overall breakaway runs, number 9 in yards created after initial contact, and number 3 in that expected points per added category. We know how important that is. Number 3 in the league in expected points added versus Ezekiel Elliott at number 137. Also, you look at the amount of receptions that Zeke got this past year was 47. Tony Pollard got 39 and got 337 receiving yards, whereas Zeke got 287 on 8 more receptions. So you can see that Tony Pollard's opportunity share significantly increased this past year, and this has become very much almost a 50-50 split backfield between Zeke and Tony Pollard, which when you look at the value of Tony Pollard's rookie ticket autos, you look at the value of his Prism Silvers from 2019, his field level silvers, his optic hollows, his optic on-card autos. Those have significant room to grow, in my opinion, because of the rate at which he generates these breakaway runs, these big highlights, these big performances on arguably the biggest market team in the NFL, which I'm not going to lie, is a pretty big driving factor in why I invest in certain Dallas Cowboys players. I'm not a fan of the head coach, Mike McCarthy, whatsoever. I think he's holding that team back. Juju Smith-Schuster is one of my favorite wide receiver targets this offseason because he was drafted in the 2nd round from USC. He's actually broke out at an early age, started making massive impact on USC's offense at the age of 18.8. Came into the NFL early. You're thinking, well, this guy was drafted in 2017. That would put him probably around 28 years old. In fact, he's only 25 years old right now. And what's surprising, and maybe you guys already know this, but in 2018, Juju Smith-Schuster was a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL across the board. Yards after catch, number 1. Receptions, number 5. Receiving yards, number 5. 1,400 receiving yards. He had 2 seasons of 97 catches or greater. That's 2018 and 2020. So essentially, Juju checks all the boxes in terms of breakout age, elite athleticism, draft pedigree from the 2nd round, and he's dynamic after the catch with his yards after catch ability, especially when running out of the slot. So he's 2 years as top 15 in yards after the catch. In 2018, he was number 1 in fantasy points on a per target basis, and he's set to be a free agent this offseason, which is incredibly important. We've already seen some tweets indicating, hinting at the fact that he really wants out of Pittsburgh. He signed a 1-year extension with Pittsburgh last year. When he had the option to go to a couple other teams, he turned down the deals. He wanted to try and get Big Ben in his final year to a solid playoff run, potentially a Super Bowl. That didn't happen. The wheels fell off. He suffered a shoulder injury, of all things, that held him out a good portion of the season. So now in lines, we have a 25-year-old player, and what's so incredible about Juju, he's got 2017 product for his rookie year. Incredible high gym rate prism, wonderful base prism that comes silver. It's also part of the same set that Cooper Kupp, Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, Chris Godwin, all these guys come out of, Deshaun Watson, that these players come out of, which means that most of the 2017 product is out in circulation, so you can find quite a bit of availability for 2017 Donruss and Optic and Prism and his rookie ticket autos on eBay and other marketplaces. The prices for him are very low right now, especially when you look at his middle of the 9th round average draft position in fantasy is screaming that his expectations are not very high right now. But imagine if he were to sign with the Chiefs or the Chargers, who need a complementary slot receiver role for an elite wideout like Tyreek Hill, partnered up with a quarterback who is not on the verge of retiring but has a very strong arm and able to feed Juju the ball. Juju can be incredibly productive. He can be back to top 5 elite wide receiver status, and with his current prices being so dirt cheap, like he's never been an elite wide receiver before, I'm putting the hammer down on him. Another advanced fantasy statistic that I look at is overall target share, because it shows us the percentage of targets that the wide receiver is getting out of all available targets for an offense. So it'll really illustrate and point out the alpha wide receivers, even if they're on a bad team with a bad quarterback, and that's what's holding them back. And so that's exactly what we have with DJ Moore, drafted in the first round from 2018 out of Maryland. He's just not even 25 yet. The guy ran a 4.42 on his pro day. He's got a 108.5, 89 percentile height adjusted speed score. And DJ Moore had a 43% college target share. Absolute monster for Maryland. Broke out at age 18.4. 53.3%, 98 percentile college dominator. Just totally dominant at all vectors of the field, short, intermediate, deep. You look at what he's been able to do for the Carolina Panthers with a subpar, sometimes terrible quarterback play between Cam Newton and Sam Darnold and PJ Walker. 2019, over 1,000 receiving yards. 2020, over 1,000 receiving yards. 2021, over 1,000 receiving yards. In each of those years, he had over 1,500 air yards, which is another metric. So we look at unrealized air yards. These are all yardage of intended targets. So a lot of these air yards, because DJ Moore does have a good catch rate. He does have an ability to catch the ball in contested catches situations. However, the quarterback play is not always great. So he's getting targeted at a 28.4% rate, which is number 5 in the NFL. And when you correlate that type of alpha dominance, that's like a Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp type of level. And currently his rookie cards are going for very cheap. The 2018 rookie ticket auto is a beautiful product. I mean, you can sometimes find those in auction for $15-20. Are you kidding me? Beautiful prism silvers. What's interesting is some products from 2018 don't have rookie card logos on the front. I've noticed, like some Origins on-card autos and the Prism on-card auto from 2018 don't have the rookie card logo on the front. Very disappointing. Something Panini did in 2018, which is really kind of an anomaly. They kind of had a brain fart about that. But the Prism Silvers, the Optic Hollows, those are very short print, scarce cards from 2018. Very safe investments. Look at those Optic on-card autos. Some of those short print serial numbered cards. Those are fantastic investments you can find for DJ Moore that are very cheap. Carolina gets a big quarterback upgrade, whether they bring in a Deshaun Watson, whether they pick up a quarterback in the draft. They're going to bring in somebody because they are in a win-now mode. They've got an above-average defense, an elite run-stopping defense. They made dramatic improvements last year to their defensive secondary. J.C. Horn, who ended up being injured second half of the season, was a tremendous rookie draft pick from the year prior. So their defense is in win-now mode. They really desperately need a quarterback. You put DJ Moore around a much better quarterback, and you're going to see huge hype being generated for DJ Moore's rookie cards compared to what they're at now. Like a family tree, part of you and... My tight end pick for today's video is Dallas Goedert of the Philadelphia Eagles. Going to go ahead and stack him. A lot of what we talk about in best ball and fantasy football is stacking players. Dallas Goedert is the perfect stack with Jalen Hurts, man. He had 830 receiving yards in 2021 with a number 8 target share. Talk about that target share again. He had almost a 20% target share, which is number 8 in the NFL. Average targets distance was also number 8 in the NFL at 8.8. The air yards share was number 9 at almost 20%. Number 12 in total air yards. So as a tight end, we talk about yards after the catch. He's number 5 with 343. That's almost 4.5 yards per target yards after the catch. Number 5 in overall receiving yards. Right now, Dallas Goedert is number 1 in yards per target, number 1 in yards per route run. Just phenomenal in target separation. Number 3 His EPA rating, his expected points added, we talked about that advanced stat, is a 53.5. That's number 5 overall in the NFL. So he deserves to have rookie cards that are valued in the top 3 of tight end status for the NFL, and I believe that they're considerably undervalued. He's another one of those guys that is a 2018 rookie, so I love targeting those rookie ticket autos. I recently watched one. I was in a little bit of a bidding war, but they're still very low. We're talking sub $30 in a lot of auction scenarios. Also looking at those short print optic on-card autograph cards. And hey, I'm looking for really any type of on-card autograph or color match serial number card. Short print cards from 2018 that I love, like the optics, like the prism short print parallels, and the rookie ticket autos, are just to name a few. However, there are more cards out there that I believe become very relevant as long as they have those kind of factors that we like. Guaranteed scarcity with the serial numbered, and you add some color match elements to that, a nice picture, you get those professional team logos and trademarks, and on-card autographs are wonderful aspects to have on a card, make them very liquid, make them very valuable at the same time. So when he breaks out, you can see a dramatic price increase in the value of those cards when he overperforms. Currently out as a tight end, Dallas Goedert is going in the 6th round behind several other tight ends, including George Kittle, Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, Mark Andrews, of course Travis Kelce. So currently, he is going as the number 6 overall tight end, but he's falling behind a bunch of wide receivers. He's falling behind guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Smith. Honestly, I'd rather have Dallas Goedert over Devontae Smith. I believe Dallas Goedert has become a top 3 tight end in 2022, which is why I want to get in on plenty of his rookie cards now, because we could see a lot more of these big breakout performances from him in 2022. So leave me a comment, let me know which guy was your favorite in today's video, and if you'd like me to break down somebody else, let me know who your favorite offseason target is. There was a lot to digest in this video. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of it. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll see you in that next one. Peace.